I've gotten a lot of questions from students about whether or not they need a calculator, and the answer is no. We can do all of the things that I have videos showing how to do in the TI-83, 84, or the TI-36X in StatCrunch. So here are some helpful videos for how to use StatCrunch for the things that we're going to learn how to do in parts 2 and 3. So you'll go to StatCrunch.com and you'll log in, and then you'll just click Open StatCrunch. At this point, you have an entire giant table with no values in it. So if you were having a data set that you wanted to find a standard deviation of, let's just go ahead and grab some numbers and enter them in here. Something small, right? But you wouldn't have something this small. You could go ahead and do all of the same calculations we do with one-var stats in the calculator here in StatCrunch. You'll go to Stat, Summary Stats, and Columns. So instead of one-var stats, you're going Stat, Summary Stats, Columns. There you can choose which variable you want the information from. So in this case, var 1. And it'll ask you what exactly you want. And really, everything that we are typically used to getting is set as a default. If we want, we can even have it go a little bit further and have it give us IQR. But once we click on these things, it's going to change. Like if I click that, it's only going to give me IQR. You have to press Control or Shift to have multiple things happen at the same time. So like I said, the default is pretty good. You can always calculate IQR on your own by doing Q3 minus Q1, which are both given to you. So once you come here, you don't choose anything else. You just press Compute, and it gives you that same 5-number summary and the mean and the standard deviation. One thing to note here, it does give you more stuff than you need. And it doesn't put your 5-number summary in order, so you have to go find your min, your Q1, your median, your Q3, and your max. But it's not like a ton of work. The standard deviation that StatCrunch gives you out by default is that sample standard deviation, so you're not going to have any trouble there in terms of grabbing the wrong one, which you might have in the graphing calculator. And then also you can do other things in here. You could actually do your box plots. Just go to Graph and Box Plot. And you can even ask it to give you outliers and draw it horizontally, as we will in all of our worksheets. So you can kind of double check your work. Obviously, I have a very small data set, so I don't have an adjacent value on that end. But we can see the 89 is an outlier. You'll still need to, of course, be able to calculate the fence formulas we talk about in Part 2. So that's most of Part 2. Obviously, we have other graphs here, histograms, stimuli, dot plots, all these things that we talked about when we were in Part 2 of the lecture notes. Most of those you don't have to do from StatCrunch, or I already have videos or how-tos on. The only thing that's really that I focus on doing in the calculator specifically is this 5-number summary, summary statistics, one-var stat stuff, and you can do that again with Stat, Summary Stats, Columns, and just choosing where all of your data was. So that's the piece that you would need to know. If you really wanted to, we do a quick correlation calculation when we get to Part 3, and you can find that correlation calculation also under Summary Stats correlation. You need 2 columns to select to see if they're correlated, and I did not put in 2. But this is how you could do that. Same thing that I have a walkthrough and a little set of instructions for StatCrunch instead of the calculator.